All right, hello everybody, and welcome to EPC Live. If you're watching this right now, you're officially watching our very first live stream. So, two quick things. First, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And second, you're kind of our test audience, so please be gentle with us. We promise we'll try not to break the internet on day one. EPC Live is something that we've been very excited to launch because tech has honestly become way more complicated than it needs to be. Devices are expensive. Fixes feel confusing, and half the time you're stuck asking yourself, do I really need to upgrade my current setup, or do I just need a little bit of help? So most people don't want to become tech experts. They just want their stuff to work when they need it to. And this show is all about making tech easier, more affordable, and way less frustrating for people at home and small businesses. So today we're going to talk about real devices, real services, and real situations that people actually deal with every day, with no crazy overcomplicated explanations, no buzzwords, and no pressure. Throughout today's show, we'll also be sharing exclusive EPC Live only deals on devices and services. And these deals will be available all month or until they sell out. So if something catches your eye, definitely stick around and take a mental note. Before we start and unveil our special deals, let's jump into some tech news that actually affects people day to day.
Welcome to Tech News from EPC Live, where we give you some of the highlights of the biggest tech news and how it affects or could affect you at home. For our first story, Apple has announced a special event happening on March 4th. The event will be happening in New York, London, and Shanghai. Unlike these past events, there's no details about a live stream and has been described as a smaller, hands-on event. There's lots of rumors of the usual appearances, such as the new MacBook, iPhone, and an A18 chip refresh. More details are expected to come out as we get closer to the event, and if there is no live stream, I'm sure there will still be plenty of media coverage during and after, so be sure to stay tuned. Moving on from Apple to Android devices are set to get a new local file backup feature through Google Drive. There aren't any exact details yet on its implementation, but we hope that it'll be as simple as having all your downloads be backed up to a single downloads folder, which will then appear in your Google Drive that you can access through the app on other devices. Data security and backup is something EPC always promotes. So, in the meantime, while we wait on this feature to be implemented, here's a friendly reminder to double check and make sure that all your important documents and pictures are backed up somewhere else. You'd hate to lose all those memories and hard work. Samsung has teased a new feature for their upcoming Galaxy S26 Ultra smartphone, which launches in the US on February 25th. This new feature seems to tease some sort of privacy setting where you can only see the screen by looking directly at it, preventing people sitting, standing next to, or even behind from peeking at your device. We here at EPC are always advocating for better data security, so it'll be interesting to see how this really works. The video that teases this setting doesn't actually show the phone feature in action. It's just visual effects and graphics to get the idea across. But here's to hoping that it does work out, and if you need tips on other ways to better improve your data security and privacy, be sure to follow EPC on all our platforms. You may have heard about the RAM shortage and how it's impacted, well, everything. In terms of gaming, there are now rumors going around that the PlayStation 6 will be delayed to 2028 or even 2029. There's also rumors of the Nintendo Switch 2 getting a price increase as well. AI has been under a lot of scrutiny lately in regard to copyright issues, environmental impact, and its effect on the job market. So this is only one more thing to add to hate AI for. Not that it was hard to hate before anyway. So if you're still on the fence on getting a PS5 or a Switch 2, now is still a good time, if not the best time, to purchase them. And for our final story, recently you may have heard about a major security update released by Apple. Hackers had discovered a major exploit affecting pretty much all modern Apple devices and software. It had already been taken advantage of before Apple even discovered it. So, if you're normally one to skip on procrastinating on updates, don't skip this one. And if you're only just now hearing about this, be sure to double check your devices, accounts, and passwords. We here at EPC are always advocating for data privacy and safety. So, make sure to take this as a reminder to consistently check on your private info and update those passwords. And that's our tech news from EPC Live. Make sure to stay tuned for other great segments, and as always, stay informed. I'm Ethan from EPC, and I'll be seeing you around.
All right, it's time to clear up a few tech myths that we hear all the time. And if any of these sound familiar, then don't worry, you're definitely not alone. For myth number 1, if you delete your files or do a factory reset, everything is gone for good. That one gets a lot of people. Unfortunately, that's not how it really works. Deleting files or resetting a device usually removes just the shortcuts to the data and not the data itself, but the information can still live on the hard drive or your device long after it's been erased. So that's why proper handling and secure processes matter so much, especially when a device is being repaired, sold, or passed along. For myth number 2, old tech has little to no value. And this one kind of hurts a little bit because we see this one every single day. People assume that laptops slow down, or if a desktop feels outdated, that basically it's useless. But in reality, many devices just need something simple like a new battery, more storage, a software update, or just a quick repair. And then they'll be perfectly usable again. So what feels old is just usually unfinished maintenance. For myth number 3, getting something new is always the easiest option. New devices feel like a clean slate, but they can often come up with a lot of setup time, data transfers, and learning curves, and not to mention a higher price tag. Sometimes the smarter move is just fixing what you already have or choosing a refurbished options that's already tested and ready to go. These myths often lead people to overspend, to replace devices too early, or to handle equipment in ways that cause unnecessary stress later on. And the good news is that once you know what's actually true, it makes it easier to make smarter choices. So bottom line, understanding how your tech works saves you money, it saves you time, and it avoids a lot of headaches down the road. All right, so now that we busted a few common myths, let's quickly talk about what really happens when those misconceptions turn into real world mistakes and how they can actually cost you.
Here's a real example we see more often than you'd probably expect. Someone comes in convinced they need to replace multiple laptops because everything feels slow. Programs take forever to open, the machines don't seem to hold a charge, and the assumption is these things are just old. We need new ones. So we take a look, and pretty quickly, it becomes clear that the laptops aren't actually the problem. The real issues are the worn out batteries that couldn't hold a charge anymore and software that has not been updated in a long time. Over time, those two things alone can make even a decent device feel completely unusable. Now, here's where the mistake gets expensive. Replacing multiple laptops would have cost hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. New devices, setup time, transferring files, reinstalling software, it adds up fast. But fixing the actual problem, new batteries, proper updates, and a little cleanup, the cost was a fraction of what a replacement would have been. And this isn't just a one-off situation. We see this all the time with home offices and small businesses. When something stops working the way it used to, the default reaction is to assume it's done for. But a lot of the time, devices won't all fail at once. They slowly degrade. Batteries wear down, storage fills up, updates get skipped, and suddenly the experience feels way worse than it needs to be. The frustrating part is that people don't often realize that there is another option. They end up spending way more money than necessary simply because no one walked them through what was actually wrong. That's why the right advice matters. Sometimes the smartest move isn't replacing everything, it's fixing the right thing. Knowing the difference can save you a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of unnecessary stress. Okay, up next is the moment you've all been waiting for. After the break, we're bringing you some of our exclusive deals, so stay tuned to EPC Live. You're not going to want to miss it, and let us know in the chat if you learned something new.
You've probably spent your whole life thinking that when you delete your files, they're gone for good. Wrong. When you need to make room on your hard drive or need to get rid of sensitive documents, your first thought is to delete them, like so. But just because you delete your files doesn't mean they're really gone. You may be thinking, oh, I know that. I made sure to empty my trash. It's all good. Still wrong. Even after emptying your trash, there is still data on the hard drive. It can be very difficult to access it, but it is possible. Bad actors can misuse your data in many harmful ways, often without a victim realizing until the damage is done. This is why secure data destruction is key. So what is the difference between data deletion and data destruction then? Data destruction is the process of securely wiping or physically shredding and destroying hard drives, while data deletion only hides the files from the operating system, leaving the data on the drive. This is why data destruction is so vital to your information security. So the next time you're doing spring cleaning or clearing out space, think about what data is in that box of old hard drives or on that outdated laptop. Instead of taking them to some place to trade in for way too little stored credit or cash, consider recycling them. Here at EPC, we take data privacy and security seriously. You can drop off your old hard drives and other devices to be recycled, knowing that we will completely destroy them and your data. Make sure to follow for more tips and info.
This ain't no graphing calculator. Reintroducing the Texas Instruments TI-99-4A computer. Released in June 1981, it was a revision of the TI-99-4 with a simpler internal design, full travel keyboard, improved graphics, and a unique expansion system. It was released for $525, which is about $1,850 in today's equivalent. Need even more power from this machine? That's no problem. Just hook up this peripheral expansion box, or PEB, created by Texas Instruments. This would allow you to insert different cards that would enhance its performance. Some official cards released by Texas Instruments included a 32KB RAM expansion, an RS-232 in parallel port card, a P code card, and more. Another expansion that I thought was really cool, that unfortunately we don't have on hand, is a speech synthesizer.
I am a Texas Instruments computer.
Although the specs of this machine were celebrated, Texas Instruments got in their own way. They had a very closed ecosystem, actively denying hobbyists from being able to develop for the 4A. They saw them as too small of the customer base and irrelevant. This led to a lack of third-party development and declining sales. Eventually, the 99-4A was discontinued in March 1984. Texas Instruments is still around today, making calculators, software, and accessories. Make sure to follow EPC for more tech throwbacks and tips.
If you wouldn't let your workspace get this bad, why are you letting your computer live in chaos? It's National Clean Out Your Computer Day, and trust us, your devices are begging for help. Start by deleting all files and duplicate documents. If you haven't opened it since 2017, it's definitely time. Next, uninstall programs you don't use. No, you don't need 5 PDF editors. And finally, securely back up and properly dispose of old devices with a certified ITAB partner like EPC, because your data deserves a clean break too. Clean device, safer data, peace of mind.
Hey man, you gotta help me. These lights have become sentient and they're attacking me.
All you have to do is recycle them at EPC. You made them mad by throwing them in the trash.
EPC recycles Christmas lights?
Duh. Everyone knows you can recycle your broken string lights at EPC.
Huh.
All right, let's shift gears and get into our first featured device of the day. This one I'm really excited to talk about because it checks a lot of boxes for people out there in need of a laptop that's dependable without being overly complicated. So let's talk about a laptop built for real work. The Lenovo ThinkPad L14 Gen 4 AMD is going to be a solid choice for any home offices, small businesses, students, remote workers, or anyone who needs a reliable system day in and day out without worrying about performance issues. What I like about this model specifically is that it doesn't try to win you over. It doesn't have any flashy extras that you'll never use. This one isn't about gimmicks or any trendy add-ons. It's all about performance, durability, consistency, and those are 3 things that are going to matter way more when you're using a laptop every single day. ThinkPads in general have a reputation for being workhorses, and I think this one definitely continues in that tradition. You're getting a system powered by AMD processing, which means it's going to be built to handle a lot of multitasking without slowing down. So if you're someone who deals with a lot of multiple browser tabs open, if you're running multiple spreadsheets, maybe sending an email and doing video calls simultaneously, This is going to keep up without that frustrating lag that cheaper systems tend to fall into. So startup speed is going to be another big selling point here. A lot of people don't realize how much time they're going to be losing waiting on your slow machine to boot up or wake up from sleep. With this machine, you're going to be looking at a faster startup time, a lot smoother transitions when moving in between tasks. So that's just going to make you feel a lot more efficient throughout the day. And then there's the durability. If you've ever owned a laptop that felt really fragile, or you felt the hinges loosening, or your keyboard wearing down, or even if you feel like the body flexing sometimes when you pick it up, that can be extremely frustrating. ThinkPads are going to be known for a sturdier build quality. So they're designed for everyday travel, daily handling, or long work sessions without it feeling like it's going to fall apart on you. So if you type a lot, if you have a lot of emails or reports, schoolwork, or any documentation that you need to type up, you want something that's comfortable and responsive. The ThinkPad has also always been known for having a solid keyboard, and I think this model definitely will keep up with that same feel, and that's going to make a difference over time. So now that we've talked about the keyboard experience, let's get into what this laptop is really ideal for. If you're running a home office and you need something reliable for video calls, file management, or everyday business tasks, this one is going to fit nicely for you. If you're a small business owner who needs a system that employees can depend on without overspending, this is also going to make sense for you. And for any students out there juggling coursework or needing to research, this is going to handle that workload easily as well. I know there are some of you out there also too dealing with slow, outdated machines that are struggling to keep up with modern software. And this ThinkPad is going to be a major step up. So that's the performance and usability side. Let's talk about the pricing, because that's where things are going to get interesting. Normally, the Lenovo ThinkPad is priced at $1099, and that's standard for market value for this configuration. And honestly, for what it delivers, that price lines up for what you'd expect with a business class laptop. But since you're watching our live stream, we wanted to do something special for the launch. For EPC Live viewers, we're going to be offering this laptop for $425. Yeah, $425. And just to be clear, this isn't some flash deal that's going to disappear when the stream ends. This pricing is available all month or until the inventory sells out, whichever one comes first. So if you're watching and thinking about upgrading your setup or replacing a system that's been struggling lately, you've got a little bit of time. But inventory is going to ultimately decide how long this deal is going to last. And when you compare that price or buying something brand new at full retail, the value is going to be very clear. You're getting a business grade laptop built for reliability, performance, and long-term use at a price that really doesn't make sense. So if you're tired of slow startups, if you're having lags during multitasking or freezing screens when you're doing video calls, this device is going to keep up with your everyday. And again, it's going to be a strong option worth considering. It's practical, it's dependable, and it's priced at a crazy, unreasonable price. So again, EPC Live viewers are going to get this for $425. So if this feels like a right fit for your setup, this is definitely the time to jump on it. Let's keep it moving and we'll take a look at our next featured device of the day. Okay, so if laptops aren't your thing and you prefer a more dedicated desktop setup, then this device is going to make a lot more sense for you. So let's talk about the Lenovo ThinkCentre M75Q Gen 5. Now, when people hear desktop, they sometimes picture those giant towers that take over half your desk. They collect a lot of dust and they sound like they're getting ready to take off. And that's not what we're going for here. This is a very compact desktop. When I say compact, I definitely mean it. The ThinkCentre is designed to give you some serious performance without dominating your workspace. It's small enough to fit comfortably on any desk. It can go under a monitor, or it could even be mounted behind a display and service center. So if you're working with limited space in a home office or shared desk, or even a small business workstation, then this is definitely ideal. Don't let the size fool you though. This system is definitely built for productivity and it's powered by AMD. So that processing means that it's more than capable of handling multitasking, many applications and web-based tools. You can do spreadsheets, accounting software, remote platforms, anything you really want to. And if you're somebody who, again, likes to have multiple windows open at once and you're jumping around between email documents, browser tabs, you can do that without slowing down. And this desktop will definitely keep up. One of the biggest advantages of this desktop is its stability. Unlike laptops that are constantly being moved and bumped and carried around, this desktop will stay put. So that consistency is going to translate into some long-term reliability, especially for workstations that need to run every day without interruption. So again, this device is going to be great. And there's going to be a great option for home offices, reception desks, small business workstations, shared office environments, or anybody who really needs that setup that's going to keep up. Another great benefit is the upgrade flexibility. So this desktop will allow for easier hardware upgrades down the road compared to many of those splinter consumer laptops. So if your needs are going to grow in the future, you definitely got room to adapt. And let's talk about workflow for a second. There's something nice about sitting down at a dedicated workspace where everything is already connected. So you got your monitor, you got your keyboard, you got your mouse, and maybe you even got the dual screen set up. And you're not constantly plugging and unplugging things all day. And you don't have to worry about your battery life. You just sit down and you just work. And this type of setup is definitely going to be for this device. That type of setup is definitely going to be for this device. It's quiet, it's efficient, and it's built for consistency. And it's designed to handle, again, that everyday business demand without all the drama. So now that we've talked about the product a little bit, let's talk about pricing, because that's the part that everybody cares about. So normally the Lenovo ThinkCentre is priced at around $1181. So again, that's a standard for this business grade compact desktop. And with this type of performance and quality, that's standard. But again, for our EPC Live viewers, we are offering this at $760. And just like our first product, this pricing is available all month or until it's sold out. So we're not going to have that 5-minute timer at the bottom. Inventory is just going to ultimately determine the availability of the file. So if you're thinking about upgrading your desktop setup or replacing the older power that's slowing down, or even setting up a proper workstation at home, instead of working off of a kitchen counter or using your laptop, this is a stronger option. So again, you're getting that compact design, you're getting that business level performance, you're getting that reliable daily operation, and again, that significant price drop that's lower than retail. So when you compare $760 to $1189, the value is really clear. We're definitely not about overspending on flashy features. This device is definitely about dependability and having a machine that works when you need it. So if you like the idea of getting a dedicated desktop without sacrificing the space or the power, then the ThinkCentre is definitely going to be something that you need to seriously consider. Again, that EPC Live pricing is $760, and it's available all month or until that inventory runs out. So now that we've talked about this product, we're going to take a quick break, and don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to continue with more deals. This time, we're going to be focusing on services that can help keep your devices that you own already running smooth. So you're watching EPC Live, and we'll be right back.
You've probably spent your whole life thinking that when you delete your files, they're gone for good. Wrong. When you need to make room on your hard drive or need to get rid of sensitive documents, your first thought is to delete them, like so. But just because you delete your files doesn't mean they're really gone. You may be thinking, oh, I know that. I made sure to empty my trash. It's all good. Still wrong. Even after emptying your trash, there is still data on the hard drive. It can be very difficult to access it, but it is possible. Bad actors can misuse your data in many harmful ways, often without a victim realizing until the damage is done. This is why secure data destruction is key. So what is the difference between data deletion and data destruction then? Data destruction is the process of securely wiping or physically shredding and destroying hard drives, while data deletion only hides the files from the operating system, leaving the data on the drive. This is why data destruction is so vital to your information security. So the next time you're doing spring cleaning or clearing out space, think about what data is in that box of old hard drives or on that outdated laptop. Instead of taking them to some place to trade in for way too little store credit or cash, consider recycling them. Here at EPC, we take data privacy and security seriously. You can drop off your old hard drives and other devices to be recycled, knowing that we will completely destroy them and your data. Make sure to follow for more tips and info.
This ain't no graphing calculator. Reintroducing the Texas Instruments TI-99-4A computer. Released in June 1981, it was a revision of the TI-99-4 with a simpler internal design, full travel keyboard, improved graphics, and a unique expansion system. It was released for $525, which is about $1,850 in today's equivalent. Need even more power from this machine? That's no problem. Just hook up this peripheral expansion box, or PEB, created by Texas Instruments. This would allow you to insert different cards that would enhance its performance. Some official cards released by Texas Instruments included a 32KB RAM expansion, an RS-232 in parallel port card, a P-code card, and more. Another expansion that I thought was really cool, that unfortunately we don't have on hand, is a speech synthesizer.
I am a Texas Instruments computer.
Although the specs of this machine were celebrated, Texas Instruments got in their own way. They had a very closed ecosystem, actively denying hobbyists from being able to develop for the 4A. They saw them as too small of the customer base and irrelevant. This led to a lack of third-party development and declining sales. Eventually, the 99-4A was discontinued in March 1984. Texas Instruments is still around today, making calculators, software, and accessories. Make sure to follow EPC for more tech throwbacks and tips.
If you wouldn't let your workspace get this bad, why are you letting your computer live in chaos? It's National Clean Out Your Computer Day, and trust us, your devices are begging for help. Start by deleting all files and duplicate documents. If you haven't opened it since 2017, it's definitely time. Next, uninstall programs you don't use. No, you don't need 5 PDF editors. And finally, securely back up and properly dispose of old devices with a certified ITAB partner like EPC, because your data deserves a clean break too. Clean device, safer data, peace of mind.
Hey man, you gotta help me. These lights have become sentient and they're attacking me.
All you have to do is recycle them at EPC. You made them mad by throwing them in the trash.
EPC recycles Christmas lights?
Duh. Everyone knows you can recycle your broken string lights at EPC.
Huh.
Okay, so earlier in the episode, we talked about how people think replacing everything feels like a good answer. But fixing the real problem saves you a ton of money. And that same thinking applies to phones, maybe even more than laptops. So let's talk about phones for a minute, because this is where we see people getting frustrated the fastest. If your phone battery is barely making it through the day and your screen is cracked, but it still technically works, the first thought a lot of people have is, well, I guess it's time for a new phone. And honestly, that does make a lot of sense. Phones are a big part of our daily life. So once they start slowing down, your patience goes out the window. But here's the thing. Just like laptops, a lot of phone problems don't mean the device is done. That just usually means one or two parts are worn out. And batteries are a perfect example of that. Phone batteries naturally degrade over time. That's not a defect. That's just how batteries work. After a couple of years, they don't hold a charge like they used to. So what happens after that? You start carrying around your phone charger everywhere, and your phone starts dying halfway through the day. And then you have to start turning off features just to make it last. Eventually, that makes your phone feel unreliable. But in many cases, the phone itself is still in great shape. A battery replacement can bring your phone back to life and make it feel usable again almost immediately. Screen cracks are another big problem. Cracked screens are incredibly common, and sometimes it could be a small crack, or sometimes it could spiderweb across the whole display. And people live with that a lot longer than they should because they assume the repairs are going to be expensive or not worth it. But the reality is a screen replacement is often a lot more affordable than buying a brand new phone, especially if the device is already working fine. So you'll get your visibility back, your touch response is going to improve, and suddenly the phone starts feeling like normal again. What we see with a lot of people is they upgrade their phones not because they want to, but because they feel forced to. Their device, again, isn't convenient anymore. It starts dying way too fast. It's harder to use, and it's honestly just frustrating to look at. So repairing your device is going to give you another option before jumping straight to replacing your device. Another thing to think about also is the setup side of things. New phones aren't just expensive, they take a lot of time. Think about it. You got to transfer your data back. You got to log back into apps that you use. And often you'll have to reset your passwords when doing it. You'll have to reconfigure your settings again. And it's just never really as quickly as you think it will be. So again, repairs are going to keep you with your phone that you're already comfortable with without having to start from scratch. So that's why mobile repair is such a practical option, especially for people who are trying to stretch out the device of their life and manage the life of their devices, and then manage their costs just a little bit more carefully. At EPC, we handle common mobile repairs like battery replacements that we talked about and screen replacements, and we focus on doing them the right way so that you're not back dealing with the same problem again in a few weeks. Our goal is to get your phone back working the way that it should and not just patch it temporarily. And since you're watching EPC Live, we're offering something special. EPC Live viewers like you are going to get a promo code off of mobile repairs. And that discount is going to apply to things like battery replacements and screen repairs. And it's really a great way to fix a problem before it turns into a bigger, more expensive one. If your phone has been barely hanging on, or if you've been putting off phone repairs because you think it's not going to be worth it, this is definitely a good moment to take care of that. Sometimes one simple fix is all that you need to make your phone feel usable again. So again, the big takeaway here is the same thing that we were talking about before. Replacement isn't always the answer. Sometimes the smartest move is fixing the right thing at the right time, and your phone is often the perfect place to start. Welcome back to EPC Live. Thank you for staying tuned in. We just talked about mobile repairs and how sometimes fixing the right thing at the right time can bring a device back to life without the cost of replacing it. And now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something that goes beyond one repair, because sometimes the bigger issue isn't a broken screen or a worn out battery. Sometimes the overall experience of owning a computer is an issue. And let's be honest, owning a computer shouldn't feel frustrating. It shouldn't feel like every few weeks something is slow or needs updating or something isn't working the way it's supposed to. But for a lot of people at home or in small businesses and home offices, that's exactly what it feels like. You can sit down to get something done and suddenly the computer is running slow, or maybe it takes forever to start up. Or maybe your programs start to freeze. Maybe your updates start popping up at the worst possible time, or you get those security warnings that make you feel like something is going wrong, but you're not really sure how to go about it or what to do. So that's where the remote home PC management comes in. This service is designed to take that ongoing stress off your plate. Instead of waiting on something to break or something that happened and then scrambling to fix it, this is about staying ahead of the problem before it turns into a bigger headache. So here's how it works. Our technicians can remotely log into your computer, securely, of course, and you don't have to unplug anything or drive anywhere or schedule an in-store visit. You can stay right where you are, and then we can handle the technical side from our end. If your system is running slow, we can diagnose what's causing it. If your software is outdated, we can manage the updates. If something is installed that shouldn't be, we can remove it. So it's basically like having a support team on standby without us needing to physically be in your home. So this service covers up to 2 PCs in the same household, which is definitely great because most homes don't have just one computer anymore. There's usually a mix, maybe a work laptop, You got your family desktop or maybe even a student device too. So instead of managing each one of them separately, this will keep them all running smoothly together under one service plan. Another big thing that we want to talk about is hardware monitoring. Computers usually don't fail all at once. But they do give warning signs though. Your hard drive will start slowing down and you'll notice the memory strains, and even maybe your system might start overheating. But our technicians can monitor those early signs for you so that those small issues can be addressed before it becomes a major problem or even a data risk. And of course, security plays a big role here too. This service includes an annual subscription to WebRoot antivirus, which is going to help you protect yourself against malware and viruses and other online threats. Cybersecurity isn't a business concern anymore. It's definitely a concern for home users because home users are targeted all the time through emails and downloads and unsafe links. So having an active protection plan plus technician oversight is going to add another level of peace of mind. And here's also something that people really appreciate. If your repairs are ever needed in the store, this service is going to include a 50% discount on labor. So even when something physically needs attention, you're still going to save money on that part using this program as well. So when you put all of that together, remote diagnostics, performance support, you got the hardware monitoring, update management, antivirus protection, and repair discounts, it becomes a little less about fixing problems and more about preventing them. Since you're watching this live, we're going to be offering you a special price, and you can just use the code at the bottom to get that. So that's a full year of coverage for up to 2 computers in the same household with ongoing support designed to keep those things running the way that they should. So again, if you've ever felt like your computer is more stressful than helpful, or you're tired of dealing with the same slowdowns and pop-ups over and over again, this service is definitely built to make your day-to-day experience a lot smoother. And if you have any questions or want to get started, you can call 636-443-1999 to speak directly to our certified techs. They can walk you through what the service covers, how the remote access works, and how to help you decide if this program is going to be the right fit for you. Because at the end of the day, tech should support what you're doing, not slow you down. And this service is definitely going to make sure that it does exactly that. Coming up next, we've got some more fun and informative segments that you don't want to miss. So stay in the stream. You're watching EPC Live.
You've probably spent your whole life thinking that when you delete your files, they're gone for good. Wrong. When you need to make room on your hard drive or need to get rid of sensitive documents, your first thought is to delete them, like so. But just because you delete your files doesn't mean they're really gone. You may be thinking, oh, I know that. I made sure to empty my trash. It's all good. Still wrong. Even after emptying your trash, there is still data on the hard drive. It can be very difficult to access it, but it is possible. Bad actors can misuse your data in many harmful ways, often without a victim realizing until the damage is done. This is why secure data destruction is key. So what is the difference between data deletion and data destruction then? Data destruction is the process of securely wiping or physically shredding and destroying hard drives, while data deletion only hides the files from the operating system, leaving the data on the drive. This is why data destruction is so vital to your information security. So the next time you're doing spring cleaning or clearing out space, think about what data is in that box of old hard drives or on the outdated laptop. Instead of taking them to some place to trade in for way too little stored credit or cash, consider recycling them. Here at EPC, we take data privacy and security seriously. You can drop off your old hard drives and other devices to be recycled, knowing that we will completely destroy them and your data. Make sure to follow for more tips and info.
This ain't no graphing calculator. Reintroducing the Texas Instruments TI-99-4A computer. Released in June 1981, it was a revision of the TI-99-4 with a simpler internal design, full travel keyboard, improved graphics, and a unique expansion system. It was released for $525, which is about $1,850 in today's equivalent. Need even more power from this machine? That's no problem. Just hook up this peripheral expansion box, or PEB, created by Texas Instruments. This would allow you to insert different cards that would enhance its performance. Some official cards released by Texas Instruments included a 32KB RAM expansion, an RS-232 in parallel port card, a P code card, and more. Another expansion that I thought was really cool, that unfortunately we don't have on hand, is a speech synthesizer.
I am a Texas Instruments computer.
Although the specs of this machine were celebrated, Texas Instruments got in their own way. They had a very closed ecosystem, actively denying hobbyists from being able to develop for the 4A. They saw them as too small of the customer base and irrelevant. This led to a lack of third-party development and declining sales. Eventually, the 99 4A was discontinued in March 1984. Texas Instruments is still around today, making calculators, software, and accessories. Make sure to follow EPC for more tech throwbacks and tips.
If you wouldn't let your workspace get this bad, why are you letting your computer live in chaos? It's National Clean Out Your Computer Day, and trust us, your devices are begging for help. Start by deleting all files and duplicate documents. If you haven't opened it since 2017, it's definitely time. Next, uninstall programs you don't use. No, you don't need 5 PDF editors. And finally, securely back up and properly dispose of old devices with a certified ITAD partner like EPC, because your data deserves a clean break too. Clean device, safer data, peace of mind.
Hey man, you gotta help me. These lights have become sentient and they're attacking me.
All you have to do is recycle them at EPC. You made them mad by throwing them in the trash.
EPC recycles Christmas lights?
Duh. Everyone knows you can recycle your broken string lights at EPC.
Huh.
Welcome to Secure versus Sketchy, where we expose dangerous ITAD practices, explain the huge risks to your data, and show how EPC securely handles it. Today, we're exposing unreliable transport vehicles and all of the data risks that come along with choosing the shortcut. So, we've all seen them, a plain white unmarked box truck. Now, imagine one of these plain box trucks pulling up to your loading dock with no logos and no security features. To the untrained eye, it's probably just a normal pickup or delivery. But in the world of ITAD, it's a huge data breach. So why is this so dangerous? Let's take a look at the sketchy aspects of this. First, there's zero visibility. Once those servers or laptops are inside the unmarked truck, they basically vanish. Without any sort of security features or GPS tracking, the driver could take a 2-hour detour and you would have no way of knowing. Random drivers are most likely not very qualified with the secure background check performed. This could result in the driver either physically stealing your devices or stealing your data by transferring it to a USB drive or something, leaving you with a huge data breach and at a loss of money. Sketchy transports love consolidation. That means your sensitive data might be sitting in a truck right next to a pile of used office furniture or industrial scrap. So every time that door opens at another stop, your assets are exposed. On top of that, they're probably treating your sensitive electronics like a bag of mulch. They just toss the laptops loosely into cardboard Gaylord bins with no padding. When your assets are just tossed into the truck like that, they're highly likely to shift around, resulting in cracked screens, loose hard drives, and other broken parts. There's not any physical security to these trucks. Trucks rarely have secondary lock systems or alarm sensors. So only a simple padlock stands between a thief and your company's entire digital history. So if this kind of truck ever pulls up to your dock, your red flag sensor should seriously be going off. Now let's look at the secure way that EPC does it. When we arrive at your facility, the difference is immediate. Here's how we ensure that your data is always secure. EPC has our own dedicated fleet. Our vehicles are branded and company owned and operated. Our drivers aren't just drivers, they're vetted, background checked, and highly trained ITAD logistics specialists. All of our trucks are equipped with an advanced GPS tracking system, so we know exactly where your assets are in real time from your dock to one of our facilities. At EPC, we treat your assets like the high-value equipment that they really are. We don't just throw them in a truck. Our teams professionally wrap, pack, and secure your assets on the pallets, ensuring that they're safe as can be during transport.
So at the end of the day, a sketchy transport is a huge gamble where the winnings are just a few dollars saved on shipping, but the loss could be a multi-million-dollar data breach and a ruined reputation. Leaving your data to chance on the back of an unmarked truck is a risk that you should never take. EPC views logistics as so much more than getting from point A to point B, where we take pride in offering full-service shipping that is highly secure and transparent. This is Kayla, and that was your Secure versus Sketchy. See you next time.
Many companies will show a big list of certifications or stats with big numbers, but never explain what they mean. What do they represent? How impressive are they really? Welcome to Metrics That Matter, an EPC Live segment where we show you some of EPC's metrics and why you should care about them. Today, we're talking about EPC's eSteward certification. Simply put, eStewards is an accredited, third-party audited certification program for electronics recyclers, refurbishers, and asset managers. Hey, that's us. It's based on the eSteward standard, which defines best practices for ethical and responsible use electronic equipment management. This isn't just some easy-to-get-into, pay-for-entry type of certification. They have an intense 9-step review process and have extremely high standards. So why should you care? Well, if you see a company that is eSteward certified, like EPC, then you can trust that they will handle your data and IT assets with care. They won't just end up in some random landfill. eSteward certification also only lasts a few years, so it's something that companies must continually apply for and work on. And on top of that, there are yearly audits too to keep companies accountable. They can't just tidy everything up for a day and immediately go back to bad practices. eStewards is recognized globally, so no matter where you are, this is a certification that benefits you. So, the next time you're looking at electronics recycling companies' certifications, let's just say, I don't know, EPC, and you're wondering if they're legit or not, look for eStewards. They're an accredited organization that puts recyclers above the rest. This has been Metrics That Matter. I'm Ethan from EPC, and up next, Trey's got some reviews for our valued customers.
Thank you for that, Ethan. All right, before we wrap this segment up, I want to take a moment to highlight something that means a lot to us here, and that's our feedback from people who actually come through our doors or use our services. So we pulled a few recent reviews, and honestly, these are the kind of experiences that we aim for every single day. So our first review comes from John, who said, "Skylar was awesome, helped me fix my phone." That's short and simple, but it says a lot. When someone walks in our door with a phone issue, they're usually stressed out, their device isn't working, and they feel disconnected. And they need the help very fast. So hearing that one of our team members made that process smooth for them is huge. We also have another review from Don, and he mentioned picking up a convertible laptop at a great price, and even recommended checking out some of our inventory before going to some of the bigger box stores. And that's exactly what we try to offer. Again, solid devices that perform well without the inflated price tags that you're going to see in other stores. The next review we have is from Daniel, and he highlighted a section of our refurbished PCs and laptops, and he called out the team for being helpful and knowledgeable, which we definitely appreciate because, again, buying tech can sometimes feel intimidating if you're not sure what you need. So that knowing that we make the process easier for them is always great, and that's our goal every time. And last but not least, Angie shared that she had a great experience and we offered her great service. She also said that our team stands behind their work and that situations get made right if something isn't perfect. So that follow through really matters to us just as much as the initial repair of the sale. At the end of the day, reviews like this remind us that it's not just about the devices. It's really about the experience that people have while they're here. So to everyone who's left feedback or supported us, we really appreciate you. And we're always working to keep earning that trust every time that you visit us. Okay, so as we start to land the plane on our very first episode of EPC Live, I just want to take a moment to recap what we covered today and honestly, just take a moment to say thank you. So we kick things off today by talking about something that a lot of people wonder about, but don't always get to see, which is exactly what happens with your tech when it leaves your hands. So we talked about everything from handling and processing to secure steps along the way. And we wanted to pull back the curtain a little bit and make that world feel a little less mysterious and more understandable for you. We also got a chance to break down some common myths, like the idea that deleting files mean that they're gone forever, or that old devices automatically have no value. And hopefully we help clear up a few of those misconceptions and save somebody out there from throwing something out or overspending on something that they didn't need to. And then we walk through a real world cost mistake, showing that replacing devices isn't always the smartest first move when a repair could have solved the problem for way less. From there, we moved on and we highlighted some of the featured devices and service options, including mobile repairs and remote home PC management. Again, because sometimes convenience and support matters just as much as the tech itself. And of course, we shared a few of those customer reviews because at the end of the day, experiences from real people matter way more than anything that we could say up here. So before we go, I just want to give a huge thank you to everyone behind the scenes who made this pilot happen, from our retail floor sales team to our technicians, to our marketing crew, and to our leadership support. And thank you all for watching this live or catching the replay. You survived episode 1 with us, and so that makes you a part of our journey. And we'll keep improving, we'll keep bringing you deals, and hopefully we'll keep the tech talk a little less stressful. We'll see you next time on the next episode of EPC Live.